I'm not the school board president, and I would like to welcome you to the January 5th school board meeting of trustees here in Plymouth. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our organizational meeting, and the first item on the agenda tonight is to elect a president. So we need a nomination for president of the Plymouth School Board.
Nominate Todd Samuelson.
I second it.
Are there any other nominations for president? Seeing none, do we have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
All in favor of Todd Samuelson being president again of the school board, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous, and you win the gavel.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
The next item, we need to elect a board vice president. Open the nomination.
Nominate Larry Holloway.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for Larry Holloway. Are there any other nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Motion and second to close nominations. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Nominations are closed. All in favor of Larry Holloway as board's vice president, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Larry.
Thanks.
Enthusiasm. Open nominations for board secretary.
I nominate Melissa Christensen.
Second.
Any other nominations? Motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All in favor of Melissa Christensen as board secretary, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Melissa. On to item 1.3, setting the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, in the bond, it talks about the bond, we had to put that in late because of a change that needed to be made.
Okay. Any other changes? With that change, I entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda is set. Item 1.4, are there members of the audience that would like to address any agenda items this evening? We'll have another opportunity here at the end. Thank you for being here. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Are there items within the consent agenda that a board member would like to have considered separately? Looking on the table, then there's a couple things we need to do before we approve this. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second. Under 2.4, we need to appoint or recommend a legislative liaison, which I believe I have served in that role in the past. But that doesn't mean I need to continue doing so.
You did an excellent job, Sam.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like we're really effective in the legislature.
Recommend that you continue in that capacity.
Okay, and the other is to appoint members to the Strategic Plan Committee. And I'm going to profess I don't recall who's on that right now. It says members, how many you want?
Just two.
Two.
I'd be happy to.
We have
As would
we
I.
have two volunteers.
Terrific.
Awesome. Great. I think those are the blanks, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. With those board members slotted into those positions, we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Are there any other questions or discussion?
I would just mention the retirees that we have coming up. We have several faculty and staff members. I certainly want to thank them for their contributions and dedication to Plymouth schools. Wish them all the best. And also to Sandy Dotson. She did not have our permission to leave, but nonetheless, I want to wish her all the best in her new endeavors.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Susie Clevenger, and thank you, Sandy. I wish you the best.
I'd like to say one thing. When I was getting Marcy ready for school this morning, I said, "Come on, Marcy, let's go. Hurry up. Start a new year off right." She said, "It's a new year. That means Mr. Piquel won't be here today?" I said, "No, he'll be here till the end of the school year." So they really enjoy you, as I did when you were my teacher. So thank you.
I was your teacher, I've been here that long.
Okay.
Junior high and high school.
Okay, Bob, I have to say something, because when I was a senior, Mr. Piquel's first year teaching the high school choir. So you kind of have me to blame for why he's like he is, a little bit. But I want to say that I'm really proud that I got to see the first part of your Plymouth High School career, or Plymouth School career, and then also I'm glad I get to see the end of it. Not in a bad way. I mean, I'm just privileged. I feel honored. And Sandy, we're going to miss you beyond. Thank you for everything.
Yes, Sandy is. And being on the board for a long time, you've gone above and beyond and helped me in many ways and helped the board and this corporation. So best of luck to you, and thank you for all you've done for Plymouth Schools. And Bob, the list is getting much shorter to folks that are retiring that were around when I was around. It might be near the last one. But thank you. I think what I will remember most is the energy that I remember you had when I was in school. I still see it. So good luck and no?
I wish it was, but.
You fake it well then.
Yeah.
But good luck in your post-school career. And Susie's not here, but we're going to get an opportunity to speak with Susie. And for those of you that are not overly familiar with the alternative school and what she has done for the schools and the students that have gone through the alternative school, it's nothing less than inspiring. And those are going to be some big shoes to fill, but wish her well, and she's outstanding for what she's done for our corporation. Any other comments? So we have a motion second. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have an introduction?
Yes, we do.
Well, Michael Delp and I are very happy to welcome Dylan Connor to the Widener School of Inquiry. He started today. It's his first official day. He's teaching with Grant Masson, American Perspectives. He's the English 10 portion of that. And then he's also teaching English 11. Dylan just graduated from Hope College, end of December, right? So end of December, he is actually from Tallahassee, Florida, and he decided to stay up here. And he has a major in English, a minor in political science, and he was very involved in theater in college, and he directed many plays. And today when I visited English 11, he had the kids all laughing hysterically by teaching them how to do improv, and it was a really great sight to see that on the first day. So welcome.
How are we going to distinguish you from one of the students?
Our staff, the average age of our staff is getting lower and lower, so he's now, I think, now our officially
Bringing
youngest
fresh
one. But,
and
yeah.
bring new ideas, I'm sure.
Yep.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Mr. Scott, I see you presented us with a paper. Did you want to speak to this?
Not really, no. Just wanted you to be aware of her qualifications and why she was chosen.
Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Thank you. Moving on then to section 3, business transactions, 3.1, focus on learning, PHS.
Yes, tonight we have Mr. Hatcher and Mr. Condon to introduce the students.
Thank you, members of the board. Tonight, I'm fortunate enough to be introducing to you some special people, led by Dave Hatcher. Dave is one of the true leaders of the high school's dual credit initiative. He teaches AP Psychology, which was one of our original college credit courses. A little bit of history for you with our dual credit program, and then Dave's accomplishments before we get to the students. Remember 4 or 5 years ago when we initiated our transition to early college credits while still in high school, we created several classes, and I think our first go-around, we had about 13% of our seniors who graduated successfully attaining college credit while they were still with us. A few years later, I'm happy to announce to you that last year's senior class graduated with 62% of those seniors having successfully passed at least one college course while still enrolled in high school at little, if no cost. 62%. That's unbelievable. So Dave is a leader in this initiative. A little bit about Dave. He's been with us for several years now, teaching our AP psychology course. It started off with one small section, and now the enrollment requests bust through the roof each year. 90% average passing the AP National Examination over the last 4 years. 90%. Compare that to the state average, which is slightly below 60% passing. And you can see why he's a special teacher and why kids love to be in his classroom. Tonight, when Dave's students lead you through a series of experiments, I ask that you keep your smiles on and be patient and have fun with this. And you're also going to understand my experiences on a daily basis with these kids when they come to my office and they ask me to volunteer with these experiments, and we have a lot of fun with it, where they'll see me in the hallway and try to pull one on us, and oftentimes they do. Again, leaders of our student body, leaders of our AP psychology class. Let me turn it over to Dave Hatcher at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton. I'd like to introduce 4 AP psychology students. We're going to walk you through 3 short experiments on the subject of memory. So these 4 AP psychology students include Melanie Cooper, Carson Pfeiffer, Jack Barron, and Kaylee Barton. And Kaylee's going to walk us through the first experiment. So Kaylee, if you're ready, you may begin.
Hi. Hi. So the first experiment we're doing is on priming. And priming is the activation, often unconsciously, of associations in memory. So for example, a person who sees the word school is most likely to associate words like bus, student, or classroom, or bell. So here's the experiment. I'm going to ask a few of you to participate in this, if that's okay with you. And I'm going to have you all say a word 10 times in a row out loud. Then I'm going to ask you a question, and this question must be answered right away, without pausing or hesitating or anything. That's very important. Okay, so Mrs. Christensen, I'm going to ask you to say the word silk 10 times fast. Silk.
Silk, 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 silk.
What do cows drink?
Milk.
No, they drink water.
Not in production agriculture, sorry.
Well, I have another one for you.
Oh.
Say the word pork.
I think you've got their attention now.
10 times.
Say pork. Pork. Pork, 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 pork.
What do you eat soup with?
A spoon.
There you go. So that one was going to prime her to say the word pork, which would have been wrong. Okay, Mr. Hartley.
I'm on to you now.
I'm going to ask you to say the word post 10 times.
Post,
Post.
post, 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 post.
What do you do to green light? Oh, you hesitated. You did. Oh, yeah. So that would prime you to say the word stop. Okay, say the word joke 10 times.
Joke.
Joke.
Joke, 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 joke.
What is the white of an egg called?
White.
Egg white, yeah. Yeah, okay. And Mr. Tyree, I'm going to ask you to say the word roast 10 times. Say the word roast 10 times.
Roast, 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 roast.
What do you put in a toaster?
Roast, toast.
You put bread in a toaster.
You don't know my house.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to say the word 10 times fast.
10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
What's an aluminum can made out of?
Aluminum.
Right, there you go. So that one was going to prime him to say the word tin. Okay, so basically what we just walked you through was you were primed to say the word in this experiment. You were primed to say cows drink milk instead of water because of the words silk and cow, which then, led you to the word milk. And in this next one, you were primed to say the words stop instead of go because of the words post and light, which then activated the words stop. An experiment demonstrated that people who were presented with words associated with older people like Florida, wrinkle, forgetful, frail, walked more slowly than control participants who were not shown these words. So, if you wanted your students in the hallways to walk a little bit slower, you might want to play some Frank Sinatra or some jazz music that are related to old people. And another experiment demonstrated that people as simple that sorry about that. Another experiment demonstrated that something as simple as holding a hot or cold beverage before an interview results in pleasant or negative opinions of the interviewer. So, be sure to offer interviewees hot beverages, because they'll feel as though you have a warmer personality as an interviewer.
Thank you.
Good.
Very good. Very good.
How you guys doing?
Hi, Jack.
I'd ask that if you don't have a pen or pencil, I can give you one, but I'd like you to take one out. Okay, I'm going to list off about 14 words, and I don't want you to write any of them down. I just want you to listen and try to remember them. Try to remember the words drowsy, dream, snore, slumber, nap, yawn, snooze, awake, tired, peace, doze, blanket, rest, and bed. Now take about a minute and try to write down as many as you can remember. I'll get your notebook.
You have to be in order.
Nope.
December 10th.
Okay, did anybody write down the word drowsy? How about dream? How about sleep? Okay, I never said the word sleep.
Oh. I have a question mark next to mine. Does that help? I didn't know.
Half credit for that one.
Sleep as well.
It made me sleepy, Will.
And the reason why you thought I said sleep is because your brain unconsciously primed or activated your memory to create the word sleep. Priming, as what Kaylee said, can lead you to create false memories, therefore thinking I said sleep. Thank you.
That was the first one.
So this is our last experiment.
I think we're ready to move on to 3.
So it's actually pretty surprising how close our memories are and our brains are to computers in the way that we encode, store, and retrieve information. We have 3 main types of memory: sensory memory, short-term memory, and then long-term memory. Sensory memory primarily is the environmental information that comes to your brain first, and if you don't pay attention to that, you forget it, but if you do, it goes on to your short-term memory. Short-term memory is 7 plus or minus 2 items that can be held for 2 to 30 seconds. And just like with your sensory memory, if you pay attention to it, it moves on. If you don't, it's forgotten. The last type is long-term memory, which can hold an unknown or unlimited amount of information for possibly forever. Speaking of long-term memory, how many of you guys know what a penny looks like?
Okay, so on that same piece of paper that you wrote down the words, I want you to take a look at this picture and pick which letter you think the correct penny is. And then go ahead and write it down once you have it. Does everyone have an idea of what they think it might be?
I selected J.
Okay. Anyone else select?
I also selected J, but I kind of thought maybe F and now G looks good too.
Okay. Well,
J.
well, the correct answer is G.
That's what I got first.
G.
G?
G.
J.
So here's the reasoning behind, for those of you who got it wrong. If you don't rehearse information, it won't go into your long-term memory. So unless you sat and looked at a penny and was like, okay, this is what it looks like, this is what it looks like, this is what it looks like, it won't go into your long-term memory. Or if you don't, that's called maintenance rehearsal. Or if you don't like make meaningful connections to the penny and the places of like where the items are located on the penny, it won't go into your long-term memory either. So if you didn't do either of those two things, that's probably why you don't remember what a penny looks like. And just to prove that that G is actually the correct one, there's what the actual penny looks like.
Looks familiar.
Oh, I have my pocket.
So in closure, we thank you for playing along with the students tonight. They're all very bright, very witty. They have fun when they learn, and they learn very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, now that we've been embarrassed, we're going to move on to 3.2, consider interim appointment for Riverside Assistant Principal.
Yes, as you know, Jeff Book took a job in his hometown and didn't have to move. Now he doesn't have a 50-mile drive one way every day to work. So he'll be back at Pioneer. I'm recommending tonight that Amy Gerard be the interim Riverside Assistant Principal.
I would so move.
I'll second.
Heard the recommendation, we have a motion and a second discussion. Questions?
Amy will do a good job.
An interim through the end of the year, is that what we're? We have motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item 3.3, conflict of interest disclosure statements.
Those are in your packet to review of all the administrators that have signed it. And then yours will be signed tonight. And this is just for you to acknowledge receipt of these. And then they will be uploaded to the gateway system after tonight.
Okay, so we're just acknowledging that.
Correct, this is not an action.
Okay, thank you. Item 3.4, consider bids for project.
Mr. Schultz? Good evening.
briefly, I just wanted to take a moment and give you an update on the project and where we're at with things, and then go over the bid and go from there to get this going. But we met with our stakeholders and we developed our specifications starting out for this project. We had Mr. Bench, Mr. Scott involved. We toured some facilities. We created and established our budget. Moved forward, I developed some specifications, put them out, and then we did the advertisements, got it out to bid, and the results are as follow for this project. We had a base bid on the home grandstand of $522,000, and the press box was $143,000. We had alternates in the bid because I was trying to be aware of the budget, because this is one component of several projects, this grandstand. We had alternates one for heating and cooling units in the press box. That came in at $9,125. There is a piece called the bleacher jersey. It's a wrap piece that will enclose the back of the bleacher. That came in at $29,550. We spec'd a riser board facade, which is going to be basically from the ground elevation up 8 feet on 2 of the sides and 10 feet on one portion, and that will sort of serve as to control entry in lieu of a fence. This is going to be sort of a metal backing that will enclose the back side of the bleacher at the ground level. That came in at $8,750. The total bid for the project came in at $712,425. I had an estimated budget of $750,000 for this project. So it does leave us a little, but we have completed our soil tests and samples, so we know what we're going to be against with our footings, and the work would have to go downstate at that point and get a state design release. In this project, I did only receive one bid from Southern Bleacher Company, though we did do the entire process, so I wanted to go out a little bit further and try to give you some additional information. On the next slide, I attached a bid tabulation sheet from another school district, Plymouth Canton, actually in Michigan. They received bids on a very similar structure and close in capacity, press box, and overall scope of the project. They also had a low bid of $725,550 and a high bid of $932,691. This information was provided by McCarthy and Smith, their construction management company that did the process for their school district. And if you compare the PCSC bid at $655,000 for the press box and the grandstand, that Canton's is slightly higher because they have a few hundred additional seats than what we had, but we had some additional considerations in the footing and concrete things that we discovered. So that was sort of the best. I felt that I needed to give you some additional information because, normally I would expect to get a few bids on a project like this, but there's just not that many companies out there, and a lot of them are bidding them under, like a GC would bid it on with and put another contractor, under them and coordinate it. But we're going direct from a manufacturer. Southern Bleacher, again, that bid was $712,425, and I just tried to list out on the last sheet here some pros and cons. Obviously, we met our bidding requirements. It looks at this time, materials are still currently low for the project. It was competitive, I felt, compared to recent bids that I noticed at Plymouth Canton. Favorable time to bid for a completion of August of 2016. Plymouth Canton utilized the construction management company. We've averted some of that management cost. Currently, we have some administrative fees of civil engineering and grade design work and some legal fees that Mr. Huyen will have in the contract for us. So we're pretty low on this end of it as far as putting the project together. Obviously, the biggest con that I can see of this is that we had just a limited response from our bidders. At this time, I would be glad to kind of open it up and answer any questions you might have regarding this bid and this project. And, just
On the comparable you have for Plymouth County, when was that bid?
December, let me look at that.
Oh, okay.
December 15th, they bid that at 1:30 p.m. and that's what and I took our alternates away from that because they didn't have those alternates. So, and they just bid it under with that base bid, and I was trying to get that accurate comparison.
When did we bid?
We opened our bids on, I believe, the 22nd, yeah, just a week later there. And funds were made available, on the 13th or something of December for this project, just recently.
We closed on the 10th.
Yeah, so trying to get the timing.
Have you seen their work?
Southern Bleacher, yes, I did. We toured a project they did over in Maryville. Mr. Binge, Mr. Scott.
Lake Central High School.
At Lake Central High School, yeah. I have their references as well. They've done work for organizations like Daytona Motor Speedway,
You were happy.
large
You were
projects.
happy.
Yeah, the quality of their work is there. So
What kind of a timetable, Dave?
right now, we're going to be up against it. It's going to be close, but we'll have it done by August the 1st. I mean, getting the state design release, getting the prints down there approved is a 6 to 8 week process. Getting materials ordered, having it on site in March, starting the demolition, construction, putting it all back together. It's a fairly tight window, but I think I'm confident that we can get it done.
Just to let you know, from the athletic standpoint, all the home track meets we were supposed to have, other schools are going to host them for us. This is not going to affect the track at all. We will be able to practice all the running and field events at the track. We just won't be able to host anything. We've hosted the sectional the last several years, boys track, and we've informed the IHSA that we cannot host it this year, but we'll be able to continue hosting it in 2017.
Any other questions? Well, I too would like to have more than one bid, but it sounds like done the right amount of homework to make sure we have a good bidder. Jeff, there's no issues of having just one bid. I mean,
No, not at all.
What's the gauge? Lowest
It's
responsive.
easy to determine which is the lowest or most responsive bidder when you only have one bid.
Lowest is easy, just
Yeah,
they're responsive in every other fashion of the specs.
Put up a bid bond. They've met all the criteria and requirements of the project.
They know our timeframe.
They're aware of our timeframe.
And I
Responsive,
reviewed
we get the wrong Plymouth,
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dave contacted me when he realized he only had one bid. We went over the procedure and just made sure that everything had been done correctly, and I'm confident that there's no problem with awarding this.
The representative is here in the background.
I'm sorry?
The representative from the
Oh.
one bidder is in the background.
Roger Cronkite from Southern.
Anything you'd like to add? Or?
I'd just like to say that your timing is incredibly good. It's a great time to be buying grandstands. These are the lowest numbers I've seen in 15 years. Price of materials are right at the bottom, and there were a number of projects bidding at the time this project was bid. We were really, hustling with numbers and not knowing, who we were going to be up against. We were the low bidder at the Canton project up in Michigan as well, and but you've got some great numbers. You're going to get a great stand. It's going to serve the district for 30 or 40 years, and for the manufacturer, biggest company in the country, you're buying it direct from the manufacturer. The company is a no-debt, family-owned company. It's a great experience I've had. I've got 30 years of construction experience. You've got a great resource, and Dave Shoup here. A lot of districts don't have these. What you're going to pull off here with the budget that you have here is phenomenal. And we certainly like to figure that we could be under your budget by $1 or something and have as much money in there, but we had no idea. But I haven't seen these numbers out of this company in 15 years, and your timing is great, and you bid early enough because your project is critical path and it's a big project, that you get out on the early side of summer, because 80 to 90% of the grandstands that are built in the summer. And the earlier you can get in that schedule, you'll be on the front end of the summer, which gives us every opportunity to give you the best possible installation without being rushed, be on the front end of the summer, and you've lined it up perfectly. And that, knowing you had Dave's resource also gave us the ability and a confident level to really get aggressive with the number to the district.
We tried to discover everything down to soil tests, borings, every conceivable thing that could be a contingency, and the number still came in under budget, which was nice going into the other pieces of the project that we still have to bid. Advertising on Thursday will be for the other additions, and then following Thursday, so it gives us a little bit of a leeway at that number. So
We've done a couple of big projects too, right up at Notre Dame, both the soccer and the lacrosse stadiums, which are pretty sizable and very specialized. Up at Notre Dame were completed in the last 5 years, so we're going to be hands-on, to be right there with Dave through it, and it's set up to be very, very good.
I would move that we accept the bid presented.
I'll second.
I have motion and second to accept the bid for the project as presented. Any other questions or discussion? Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And these are all individual seats, right, with cup holders and heated. Remember the specs correctly?
The prices are really good, but thanks for the opportunity to work with you. We look forward to the project.
We have a lot of pride here too, and it sounds like we're going to be a good match, so appreciate it. Have motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Where am I? 3.5, 8740 bonding policy revision.
Yes. We've been blessed to be hosting 3 State Board of Account auditors this holiday season. And in doing so, they were asking me questions about the bonding, and they asked to see the crime policy, which we have in place, and it states everything that's here, and they wanted to know if we have had the board approve our crime policy, and I said, well, they approve our insurance policy, and she said, well, no, we think it needs to be. So I went to Jeff William and we said, hey, this is what they're saying, what do we need to do? And Jeff said, you already have a bonding policy, so he tweaked it to satisfy what the State Board of Accounts is requesting, and so we have to present it to you as a first reading now. And then next board meeting, we would ask that it be the second reading and approval, and then we will also present you at that time with the revised crime policy as they want it. Because our current crime policy is a renewal. It says 3-year span. They need it to be a 1 year, even though we pay for a 1 year. So we have to change that, and I have to record the crime policy as well as Wendy's and my individual bonds. So this is the result.
Okay.
And they were happy with it, so that's.
Thank goodness for the auditors. It's a great catch.
Yeah, well,
So this is first reading, non-action, so we'll have it on our agenda at the February meeting. Item 3.6, consider classified conditions.
So you have that draft there before you. Notes, I wanted to highlight number 1, not presenting any raises at this time to the base rates. We'll bring to you at the meeting a proposal for stipends as we've done with the teachers, so that'll happen later. Overall, then, it's just very similar to conditions previously, a few changes related to insurance contributions that fall in line with the Board of Health Healthcare Act regulations. There's language on the days report that shows up to however many days a particular position has to accommodate e-learning days as we may have them, for the potential for those. And then just using some comp time language consistently throughout there, just noting that that should be utilized within the year. Happy to entertain any questions, otherwise present that to you for your approval.
You've heard the recommendation, is there a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.7, consider contract extensions for administrators.
Yes, evaluations were done for all administrators, and representing the principals and assistant superintendents and myself, I would like to recommend a 1-year extension to the contract of all the following administrators, some classified, some certified. Roy Binge, Brooke Bussey, Steve Boyer, Ted Brown, Kyle Kaufman, Jim Condon, Michael Delp, Jennifer Belkey, Reed Gall, Amy Gerard, Andy Hartley, Jenny Hershey, Craig Hopple. Just blew up and I lost my place. There we go. Bruce Johnson, Kerry McGuire, Ken Olson, Amy Porteous, Dave Schoaf, Jeff Spencer, and Candy Jenkins.
Heard the recommendation, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second to approve the list that Mr. Tyree just read for extension of contracts for 1 year. Discussion. Thank you all for the jobs that you do, continue to do. Very much appreciated. Hearing nothing else, we have motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 3.8, consider administrative conditions and benefits.
Yes, we have a draft before you of administrative conditions and benefits. Like everyone else, until we have figured out what the stipends will be for the teachers, we will not make any recommendations for any salary change for any of our administrators as well. So we'll come back to you later on this winter with a recommendation. So I would consider, I recommend passing the administrative conditions and benefits.
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second to accept the administrative conditions and benefits as presented. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3.9, consider MetLife 401A plan document.
Yes, it is just only dealing with changes concerning the IRS tax code changes.
I'm sorry?
It's updating to match IRS tax code changes. Those are the only reasons for that.
Heard the explanation, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to accept the MetLife 401A plan document. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Kate. 3.1, consider amended section 125 plan document.
The only reason we have to bring that document back to you for approval is the wrong tax ID number was on the original document. They had someone else's tax ID number, not ours. So we felt that needed to be changed.
Okay. So with the appropriate tax ID number, as the only change, would entertain a motion to
So moved.
Second.
motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.11, consider Go Solutions Group, Inc., Indiana Service.
Yeah, this agreement is with the organization that helps facilitate our Medicaid reimbursement. It's presented to you for your
Let's get it on the table. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any changes?
no changes.
It is the same organization we use.
same organization we've used, they've done a good job.
Any other questions? Have a motion, I'm sorry, been a long day. Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 3.12, permission to hire.
Yes, as we enter January, we know that there are going to be some openings, and even though we're not going to hire anyone except an executive secretary during the month of January, we come to the board and we'll ask permission to hire, and each board meeting I will let you know what positions we're going to be working on as far as hiring. So no action needs to be taken on this tonight, but we will take action once I get some positions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, section 4, superintendent remarks.
Yes, 4.1, before Christmas, the Webster staff worked with the Plymouth Airport to have a helicopter land in the lawn of the school as part of their aviation unit. This was an outstanding experience for the students, and we appreciate the Plymouth Airport and the staff members who were involved in this project. 4.2, caring. During the month of December, all of our schools help to provide our needy families. Our staff and students do this every year to show how much they care about our community. High expectations. Plymouth High School will be offering a financial aid night this Wednesday to help students in our area find a way to fund their post-high school education. This is another way our staff shows their high expectations for students in our community. Teamwork. 2 members of our central office will be leaving us this week, and everyone will pitch in to help complete all of the jobs until the replacements can be found. As you know, Sandy's leaving and Brittany will be going on maternity leave. The central office staff are all excellent team players in situations like this. And 4.5, integrity. Sadly, we have to say goodbye to Sandra Dodson and Jeff Crook, who both are leaving us for other jobs. We are sad to see them leave, but we feel good that we have been able to work with them as long as we could. We wish both of them the best of luck in their new endeavors. And that's our next 4.6 is enjoyment. So after a 2-week break, our staff and students were all excited to come back to school. For the class of 2016, they look forward to their final semester in high school. Our upcoming meetings, next board meeting will be Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016 at 7 o'clock here in the same room. That's all I have for this evening.
Questions for Mr. Tyree? Any comments or questions from the public on agenda items this evening? Yes.
I do have a clarification question on item 3.8, administrative conditions and benefits. So no raises at this particular time. With insurance going up 3%, will the dollar contribution to the administration plans increase?
Yes, that's a benefit though, not a raise.
Any other questions or comments? After this meeting, we will have our Board of Finance meeting as required for the first meeting of the year. So don't everybody leave yet. But item 6.1, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.